team at Mayer Brown International here in London, and I'm going to talk to you today about IT outsourcing disputes. Mayer Brown's business and technology sourcing practice has vast experience in representing clients in all aspects of IT and business process outsourcing. It's consistently recognised as a top-tier practice by Chambers and Legal 500 guides in the USA, the UK and Asia. It's also listed as one of the world's best outsourcing advisors in the guide published by the International Association of Outsourcing Professionals. My talk today will be divided into 4 sections. First, I'm going to identify some relevant market trends and why it's important to talk about IT outsourcing disputes. Second, I'll discuss the risks and causes of failure in IT outsourcing disputes. I'll then examine how to resolve these disputes, and finally identify some means by which the costs of IT outsourcing disputes can be controlled. So what are the relevant market trends? Well, the second slide contains some results for the third quarter in 2011 from the TPI index, which is a key measurement of the global commercial outsourcing market. Despite 2011 being a financial year that most would probably rather forget, the TPI index predicted that the industry would end the 2011 year well within historical norms. Full-year results are expected to be available by the end of January. However, at the end of the third quarter, the total value of outsourcing contracts in the global market was 20.1 billion euros, with EMEA accounting for 12.1 billion euros. IT outsourcing remains the traditional backbone of this market. It had seen a 10% year-on-year increase in EMEA by this point in 2011, with total value of IT outsourcing contracts in the global market standing at 14.8 billion euros. I should say that all of these figures exclude contracts with a total value of less than 20 million euros. So, activity levels remain healthy, but are customers generally satisfied with their IT outsourcing arrangements? Well, the level of general satisfaction in 2011 with IT outsourcing also remains high, as we can see from the next slide. In its annual perception study, Equiterra, which is part of KPMG, reported that general satisfaction in Europe was 73%, and that the risk key performance indicator had improved to 62%. These results are especially impressive given the strong focus that buyers had on cost savings and low price, as well as the organisational stress that most buyers were under during the year. You may ask, therefore, why we are talking about IT outsourcing disputes. Well, whilst the Equiterra KPMG study indicates generally high levels of satisfaction, it also shows that not everyone is happy, more than a quarter of the respondents. Economic conditions and tight IT budgets are driving additional outsourcing, but buyers are being forced to do more with less. And that makes it increasingly important for companies to ensure that the cost-benefit analysis for any outsourcing proposal is robust. When entering into an IT outsourcing arrangement, a key issue for the customer will be whether the value of the deal is greater than the value of the alternatives that the outsourcing arrangement precludes. It's very common to undertake financial modelling when making these assessments, but companies won't properly understand the real value of the deal unless risk is factored in. If it's not factored in, it's very easy for the financial benefits to be eroded very quickly. Equally significant is the need to manage the arrangement and the risks carefully and effectively throughout the life of the deal to ensure the long-term success of the programme. Successfully resolving problems in existing deals is just as important as constructing smart new deals. However, the skills that are required to resolve these problems are very different than those required to form an outsourcing relationship. In my experience, industry participants don't tend to say much about troubled deals, which reduces the opportunity to learn from them. With IT outsourcing contracts historically having terms ranging from 5 to 10 years, the industry has reached a point where there are more than a few examples of high-profile failures in both the public and private sectors, and the hidden risks and causes of failure can be identified more easily. Recent examples of cases that have ended up in court include a dispute between Ericsson and H3G arising out of the termination by H3G of an IT outsourcing contract, and the well-publicised case between B-Sky-B and EDS-HP, where EDS-HP paid B-Sky-B a reported £318 million in damages. For every example of a failed outsourcing deal that is taken to court or reported in the media, our experience shows that there are several more that are resolved quietly between the parties behind closed doors. So what are the risks and causes of failure in these types of arrangements? There are in fact any number that could be discussed, but I'm going to talk about 7, some of which are well recognised and others which tend to be overlooked. These are the traditional characteristics of an IT outsourcing deal, the commercial context for the deal, the legal or contractual problems that arise out of this commercial context, the hidden risks of offshoring, misrepresentation or overselling by the IT supplier, delay in meeting milestones by the IT supplier, and finally, economic duress. As it says on the next slide, the trend in IT outsourcing contracts has been towards what are described as mega deals, that is, high volume and high value outsourcing contracts. Alongside that trend is the traditional mindset of negotiating a contract for a fixed price over a fixed term, with little flexibility to adjust that pricing mechanism, to change the scope of the services agreed to allow for market developments or rapid advances in technology, and to enable the relationship to be brought to an end easily if that's necessary. There is a growing realisation that negotiating IT outsourcing contracts on this basis can in fact lead to troubled or failed relationships, with consideration now given to alternative approaches. Well, what are the alternatives? Successful outsourcing requires an agreement which reflects the customer's requirements, the need for the supplier to make the deal profitable, and which allows the parties to build a strong relationship and to respond to change as necessary. Success can in fact be achieved by starting out small, initially over a shorter term, and growing and extending the project over time as the relationship between the parties builds and trust and confidence grows. This approach also provides the opportunity to make adjustments for changes in strategic thinking, to renegotiate at regular intervals, and importantly for IT, to implement new innovations and advances in technology. Another important means of achieving flexibility is by introducing regular benchmarking. Benchmarking allows the customer to compare the supplier's prices and service levels against other suppliers in the market, with the contract providing an agreed method of adjustment depending on the outcome of that exercise. Of course, the trend in IT outsourcing has not been